Welcome to Bold Talk series where creativity, leadership, ideas, innovation come together. My name is Epi Ludvik, and today I have a privilege to have a short one-on-one conversation with Marianna Vintiadis, partner and head of forensic investigation at intelligence at RSM Italy. Marianna, great seeing you. Welcome to our Bold Talk series. How are you?
I'm very well, thank you. I'm very happy to be here this afternoon.
Great. I'm glad we had a chance to have this short conversation. Tell us about your journey into the world of forensic investigations and what drew you to this unique intersection of economics, law, and risk.
As they say, it's a funny story. At the time when I joined this industry, it was very small, and most people didn't even really know it existed. So I was, in old-fashioned spy style, recruited into the industry. Somebody who worked for a major international firm called me in and said, we think you'd be good at this job. And I said, well, I need to try it out for a little while because I don't even understand what you do. Things change dramatically over time because, especially after 9/11 and the introduction of anti-terrorism rules and increasing amounts of anti-money laundering regulation, a lot of what we do every day has become standard. There is a very large industry now doing this, but at the time it was really really different, and one felt a little bit operating under a cover of slight darkness, I would say.
Yeah. Now, your background in economics from University of Cambridge. Tell us about how has that academic foundation influenced your strategic approach in investigation?
Okay, economics plays an extremely important role when you're dealing with corporate investigations and economic intelligence, because you need to have a basic understanding about uh, how companies function, but also how they write up their accounts, right? Because a lot of what you do is not necessarily hidden somewhere that nobody can see, but it's hidden in balance sheets that everybody in theory has access to, but they need to know how to read them. So, a good understanding of how companies function and how they write up their results as you find them in the balance sheets is a very good grounding as a starting point for this profession.
Yeah. So, Mariana, you work with teams, I assume, all over the world, and obviously having such team cross borders. How do you cultivate trust, especially in in your field? And collaboration. How they're collaborating with you? Um, in yeah. So, how do you do that?
I think there is a key element has to do with understanding other cultures, other people, and this is good both for investigations and for human relationships. What I mean to say is that when you speak to somebody who may be sitting at the other end of the world compared to you, you need to understand. Sometimes even real basics like what time are you calling them? Uh, what sort of weather do they have? Is it an appropriate time to make a call? What kind of professional sort of setup do they have? For example, with certain types of investigations, you might find in a very remote location, somebody maybe just a retired policeman doesn't have any particular structure around them. So you need to understand and respect what they have, what they can bring, but you also, I think, need to be professional yourself in trying to convey that you have respect for what they can bring to the table.
Mm.
And I think this is a basis for a very good and strong relationship. And I have forged many of them over the years. Many people, sometimes I've worked with somebody on one or two cases in a lifetime, but we have become friends. And
Amazing.
I think that tells you a lot. You should treat people as the people you work with, not just as somebody who's a contractor on a project or somebody who's a colleague who's helping out in from a different office, but you should actually forge a personal relationship with them. These are very delicate areas, and if you don't do this, you lack some fundamental prerequisites. And I can give you an example about this. It's not just about somebody doing their job well or performing well, but also building trust, because people will sometimes find out something that's delicate, something that could affect themselves as well. You know, investigators, unfortunately, occasionally will get killed. We have seen this with journalists as well. So they will trust you if they are and will give you all the information and the full picture only if they feel that they are safe in your hands.
Mhm. Yeah, yeah. Trust. I mean, what is this old saying? Like it takes years and years to build, it takes a second to lose it.
It's true.
Um, but I truly believe I'm with you. Like trust starts with a conversation, and you got to spend some good conversation with people in order to build that trust. So, how much are you willing to invest in that? It's important, right? And so sometimes, like my wife always tells me, "So why are you having so many calls?" I was like, "Well, I have so many calls because I'm a people's person. You know, I love to connect with people, and technology is not just about being connected, is about having conversation. So if we are going to be using these technologies, we better use it right, right?"
That's correct.
Yeah. So now you come to RSM by an acquisition. So they acquired you. The company was called 36 Brains, I believe. Yeah.
Correct. Yes.
Yeah. And so tell us a little bit, because a lot of the time when we look at the acquisition, especially as an entrepreneur, we always think about the due diligence that the buyer does for the to on the for the seller. But what about in your case? Like, tell us about your journey and tell us how important is to do as a seller to do also due diligence, just as what the buyers do.
Yeah, I think this is a really interesting point you raise, because very often I have seen deals fail, not that they don't get done, but that a disaster ensues after the acquisition, because a lot of effort is put into the legal side of matters, the economics. You know, does this deal, is it going to bring more profit? Is it going to work out properly, etc.? Will it enhance my portfolio or my my range of products? But what happens is that people sometimes will underestimate that corporate cultures can clash substantially, and sometimes deals will not work exposed, right? Even though all the conditions in theory were perfect, the economic conditions were perfect, the environment was perfect, and then people will not mix. People will not work well. People will not respond to a different management in the way they used to. It is a very, very big change, right? You're not just changing your logo. Okay, you're changing the environment. In our case, even though we were small, we changed offices. It was a much broader firm. There was an international network. You know, people had to grapple with a lot of things, and it is also very heavily regulated, because RSM is an audit firm, right? So different type of regulation, different rules to learn, and not everybody likes it, right? So I took a lot of time and put a lot of attention and effort before I accepted the deal, to try and understand the company culture, the new company culture, and whether I felt my team would love it. Because if they didn't, I knew they'd leave, and this for me would
Mhm.
have been an ultimate disaster.
Yeah. Yeah, so that's some lessons that lots of entrepreneurs, and that's why you're still there and you're doing the same work that you're doing happily in the organization, right?
Yes, and virtually nobody left, so that's great.
Yeah. Talk about talk about retention rate, right? So
Yeah, absolutely.
yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
this is truly an important factor to always think about, like, how the culture are you fit. Even for jobs, I tell people, like, uh, yes, I mean the job may look interesting and something that is like pays well, but is that have you done a due diligence in terms of is this the right culture you want to be around with, right? And so a lot of times people don't ask this question. So great that we brought this up. Now, Mariana, the rise of digital transformation, it's here, it's an exponential. AI, it's coming in every single conversation, in every industry, is completely augmenting a lot of the work that in almost every field. How do you see the future of forensic investigation evolving?
This is a difficult question because the power of the new technology is essentially transformative. So I think things are going to be happening in the coming months and years that we're not really expecting. So I have already seen certain changes well, we all have seen certain things like the types of scams we are subject to. So if we see it from the outside, right, into the industry, what sort of problems we need to grapple with. Well, these are problems that maybe didn't even come to the table, right, sometime before. For example, let's take all these fake videos that people will now make, and which are beautifully reproduce somebody's voice and appear to be talking in in somebody else's personality taking over, and these kinds of scams didn't exist before the technology didn't exist. So there's
Mhm.
one area is how the actual projects that we have to deal with are changing, and the second thing is the tools, right? So we have tools, both new tools to deal with the new problems, but also AI enhanced tools. So just to give you an example, when you conduct internal investigations and you have to do email reviews, so this is a typical thing, right? You are a company is in litigation, or there is an accusation pending against it, and so a few of the employees need to be put under investigation, and so it's never a nice thing. But and you have to go through their emails now. Before you had to somehow read them. You could filter them by time or by keyword or by sender if they were emails. So you could apply certain filters. But now, systems are in place where you can say, look, I'm looking for this kind of problem. So you write a little script just to prompt it, just like you would do with ChatGPT, and the system already starts fetching results, right? So of course it doesn't solve the problem, and you have to go through them yourself, but it speeds up phenomenally. But also, and this is not so therefore only quantitative, but also will sometime make correlations that you may have failed to make yourself, and says, look at this email compared to this one, because I think there's a relevance here. So it is transformative already.
Yeah, yeah, it's incredible. Um, do you worry about the biases? There might be some biases. Obviously, these AI tools, they're all trained by large language models. So whoever trains those large language models, like, do you worry about that?
Yes, I do. I do dramatically. Of course, with the forensically sound tools that are used in investigations, the machine, at least for the moment, in no way substitutes. It just pulls up results, okay, which
Mhm.
you have to review, and it will also needs to provide an explanation why it also discarded certain emails, or certain emails or certain evidence, and so you have to review everything yourself. It simply speeds up certain things, but we have seen it, and one of the key areas, as you probably know, Epi, is recruitment, where there is clear bias based on past decisions, and
Mhm.
and the systems will already sort of, in absorbing your past way of operating and your past ways of selection, will already have a bias. And the bias may not always be negative, but the fact is that it's not going to be a neutral. It's going to be based on your past behavior, and your past behavior may have been rectified and accommodated over time. So the machine is not taking that into account.
Yeah, good point. Now, in your work with both private and government sectors, what are some major trends or emerging risks you have or observing across industries?
Well, cyber, of course, is one of the major areas. As you know, we had the big blackout in Spain and Portugal just very recently. As you can imagine, regardless of what actually happened, the immediate response and the immediate panic was, okay, this could be the result of a cyber attack. So systemic risks of this nature, systems are becoming increasingly integrated. Very often you will find that something which earlier might have affected one system can now have an impact on a large number and variety of systems. So it is. I do worry about systemic risks in a way
Yeah.
that before businesses certainly I think didn't, not to this extent and not in the vast majority of cases. But now even a small business can be affected by a risk that is independent from its own sphere of activity, and this is again a new game changer.
Yeah, I can imagine that. Today, I think there was this poll. I'm not sure where I saw that, but it was from a credible source, and it said what keeps awake the CEOs, and the cybersecurity came on top of the top three list. I believe.
That is correct. Yeah.
Yeah,
Of course, we all worry about changes in the economic environment, etc. But in a way, I think a manager is feels that that is in the sphere of his or her competence, right? So yes, it might be a difficult trading environment, it might be an uncertain environment, but cyber is a risk that now you have to take into account, but it may not be at all within what you feel in your comfort zone, right? Um,
yeah,
and therefore how to deal with it is not clear.
yeah, 100%. Is there a book or podcast that deeply shaped how you make decisions?
Ooh, difficult questions. I read a lot. So it's very hard possibly to identify a single a single book
Yeah,
that had an impact on the way I think. So probably the correct answer is probably um, I no, there isn't. But having said that, I love books and I really love podcasts. I mean, I'm whenever I am, even between two
immersed. Yeah,
appointments, I have something in my ears, and I like narrative podcasts a lot. I like
yeah.
to hear what people
It's
think.
same thing
And
with me. Same thing with me. I mean, I love reading. If there's one thing that I will never get bored is like just reading books all the time, and I just love like these physical books, right? They're like just the Kindle doesn't do it for me. Do you do it Kindle or you do it physical books?
no, I read mainly physical books. Sometimes when I
Okay,
go on holiday, I'll take a Kindle with me,
yeah, yeah.
but you need all your senses in a book, don't you?
100%, 100%. Mariana, I would love to carry this conversation for as long as this is a very interesting topic, interesting conversation. But maybe for next time, more like a longer format. Last question: what does the word bold mean to you?
Ha! I think it means making a decision even when you find that people around you find it scary. So it
Hmm.
doesn't mean that everybody's opposed to it, okay? But when they are worried about the effects, and they may think it's a good idea, but are concerned about that. So I would listen to people around me prior to making a decision, but sometimes you have to jump that hurdle and say, I understand your concerns, but we need to move it forward. So that would be a bold move in my mind.
So trust your instinct in a way, right? And once you make the decision, own it, even if it goes
On it.
wrong.
Yes.
Yeah. Great way to put it, Mariana. Great seeing you. Thank you for your time, and thank you for joining me in this Bold Talk series. And look forward to seeing you again soon. Until next time, take care, be great, and be bold always.
Thank you. I will try. Bye.
Cheers. Bye.